It's trolling at this point because it's not keeping an audience. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy when you know that regardless of what you do on your program, the first 15 minutes are going to be the highest rated. I think there's been one deviation from that, maybe in the last, how many months? So whatever you put in the first segment has the biggest audience because the first segment has the biggest audience, and it's always Pockets. And this time, the first thing you saw was Pockets and Bandido. It looked like the guy that walked out with him was so embarrassed he had to cover his face. And did you see the statistic on Pockets this week?
Actually, I didn't notice that.
He is 1 win away from 100 wins in AEW.
Whoa, congratulations.
And since they only wrestle, once every week at the most, that means he's had 2 years worth of wins. And this guy, no other name in this company has had 100 wins. Not any world champion, not any ex-WWE superstar, any Hall of Famer, nobody. Except the mascot that Tony Khan dressed up as on Halloween. So this is the first thing you see, but it's an 8-man tag team match. So here come Adam Cole and Roderick Strong, who is now... Brian, you've been watching wrestling for a long time. How can the first match of a brand new talent in the company be in an 8-man tag team match on TV where he didn't even get to fucking win?
Well, it makes sense if you just don't want the guy to get really over. You just want him to kind of be middle of the road where he is.
So it was the baby faces of Cole, Roderick Strong, Pockets, and Bandido against Jericho's jobbers, who are basically everybody in Jericho's group except Jericho and Sammy, who are the only people who are significantly over to any degree. But Jericho was on color wearing Britt Baker's black eye shirt, which they just have tripled down on. And then they jawed a little bit, and then they rang the bell 8 minutes into the program for this match. And I wanted to see Roderick Strong because he looks great as usual as far as being in cardio shape. He's got a tan. He's a great worker. He always works hard. He hits hard. His size has always been his issue, but otherwise than that, great fucking talent. Adam Cole gets in and looks thinner and paler than ever before. And then Bandido gets in and within seconds almost falls off the top rope. And so we're about a minute and a half into this match, right? And then suddenly they just decide all 8 of them jump in the ring, face off, start an 8-way, peel out to the floor, fight everywhere. Ref Aubrey Ed was pacing back and forth like she was getting antsy in the starting gate. You know, she was afraid she wasn't going to get to referee this match. She was afraid she might be scratched earlier.
Can you stop? None of these jokes on Derby weekend.
Well, that's why they're for. They're apropos. And basically, they just did this 8-way fight all over the place until finally, I fast-forwarded till they got back in the ring. And as soon as they got back in the ring, they went to the break. And when they came back, the mascot was in the ring, so I fast-forwarded to the finish, because, seriously. Roddy hit a knee, and then Adam Cole hit another knee on one of the heels. I didn't see, nobody cared anyway. 1, 2, 3. And then Adam Cole bailed out of the ring and ran up the entranceway and tackled Jericho off the announce platform, and security pulled him off. And there we go. And that had to be the first 20 minutes of the program. What were your thoughts on this extravaganza?
Not surprised they started again with Orange Cassidy. Like you said, Tony is going to double down on this. He's insistent on it happening. Why debut Roddy Strong in the ring like this? Why follow up on any of the heat you want from the Cole Jericho stuff with this match? You skipped over a lot. One of the stupidest things that everyone still does and it has to end soon. They did the spot, and there's 8 men in this match. One guy runs in, hits the big move, then another guy runs in. All 8 guys get their moment where they're waiting for the next guy to run in and do their thing. It's so boring. And again, the match isn't for me. I'm not an Adam Cole fan anymore. I liked a lot of his stuff in NXT, but I have not enjoyed anything since. Roddy Strong did look good, and you brought up his size. That's the one thing that people I did see a couple posts like, how could Jim have a problem with Gargano and like Roddy Strong, or Roddy Strong's not that much bigger than this guy or that guy. He looks like an athlete, though. Dean Malenko wasn't much bigger than a lot of guys.
Right.
He looked like an athlete.
The thing about Roddy is he is always in great shape. Technically, his work is usually brilliant. He hits hard. He gives you the impression he's in a struggle. He may not have the most over-the-top personality, but he's an athlete. And he doesn't... The Gargano shit is just, not only is he boring as a person, but he's a modern style worker where he just goes through the motions, basically, to me.
Did you see that? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to say, and with Adam, I don't know. Again, I hate it if he's sick, if there's something physical, but then why would he be wrestling? How can he be that pale and that small and that skinny? He did not look like that in NXT. I don't remember him looking like that in 2011 in Ring of Honor. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I forgot what I was going to say, but certainly not a match that excited me. I have to think if you're a casual viewer, not someone who's tied to the internet and wrestling news all day, you may be sick of Orange Cassidy. And again, we'll talk about the Cole Jericho stuff, but Jericho unbearable on commentary, which is saying something because he's next to Shivani and Excalibur. And they're all-time bad. But not a good opening to me, and, AEW fans like what they like.
Well, we'll talk about the ratings here in a little while. I don't know whether they liked any of it. Renee Moxley Good had Darby and Jungle Boy in the back about... What?
Did you miss the second half of the Jericho stuff?
Hold on. No, because I'm writing it down. They put this in the middle of it.
Oh, I didn't remember that. Forgive me.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
They did. Well, the reason why you didn't remember it is because there's Darby and Jungle Boy with this, again, ridiculous story of MJF has paid Sammy to help him keep them out of the title match so that then Sammy can lay down for him in the main event. But obviously we know Sammy's not going to lay down, and they're already teasing dissension between the heels. But nevertheless, that it never made sense to begin with, because when the deal was made, then you'd have your whole pay-per-view main event fucked. So what's he going to do? Beat him up for 20 minutes and then lay down for him? So it didn't make sense. But there's Darby and Jungle Boy, and I didn't make a single note on anything they said about their main event because none of it was memorable. It was bleh, bleh. Because you got one guy's boring and the other guy, Darby, proved he could talk when he's out there in front of the people with something to say, but this was nah. And then they go back to the back where security is kicking Adam Cole out. He's in his tights and boots, and he's on foot. They're going to send him out the back of the building into the night like that.
Yeah, what's AEW policy on that? Let me get the playbook over here. What, you're allowed to just throw wrestlers out into the night?
Yes, dressed in spandex swim trunks and wrestling boots, bare-chested, in the cold, the sleet, the snow, the driving rain, whatever the fuck, without their bag. And there's Jericho in camera shot telling them to kick him out and hamming it up and saying he's dangerous. And then Britt comes up and she slaps him, and then he bends over and then he gives her the Iggy. Did you see that? He grabs his shirt, like, tear my shirt. And then she grabs his shirt and tries to tear his shirt off of him. And he's left laying there on the concrete by Britt Baker. But
another great Jericho feud with really well thought out booking that makes sense and isn't completely stupid. Jeez. Adam Cole gets pushed out by like 20 security guards or whatever. Wasn't that not 20? Like 10 guys. Push him out. Jericho, he said he gave her the Iggy. At one point, you could see him look over before she comes to see where she's coming.
Yeah.
Where she's coming from, I guess I should say.
Where she's coming?
Well, I don't know about that. But then she comes in, she slaps him. He sells it like Inoki slapped him. And that's it. Again, they did a hot angle. Adam Cole. I didn't like it. But for them, hot angle. Adam Cole, handcuffed. His girlfriend gets the shit kicked out of her by these three heels. Then put the image on a t-shirt. And now the girlfriend is selling, and Adam Cole got kicked out. I don't know. This has all been done poorly. Very
also,
poorly.
They did a hot angle between Adam Cole and Chris Jericho, and the majority of the attention is on the t-shirt of Britt Baker. So, anyway,